Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Ryan and I are both part of Engineers Without Borders at Ohio State, and we're so excited to talk with you today, not only as a new EWB CEO, but also as an Ohio State alumna.
So first I want to say thank you to Lily, to you and Ryan for reaching out. It's been a really busy first 90 days on the job. Very exciting times for sure, but I'm absolutely thrilled that my first student chapter engagement is with my alma mater and both of you, so thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about how your career led you to Engineers Without Borders, and what you most enjoy about your role at EWB?
Sure, absolutely happy to. So I knew I wanted a 30-year career in a very global and diverse opportunity, and I found that in industry. I also knew that I wanted my second career to be focused on giving back. And I started off obviously as an engineering graduate from The Ohio State University, and quickly throughout my career progressed across supply chain, business development, finance, strategy, and worked all around the world. And those are obviously essential skills for becoming a CEO. As I was approaching my 30-year mark in my career, I really started thinking about the second phase, right? What I want to do next, and focused on giving back. And I was extremely fortunate to get the opportunity to get involved with Engineers Without Borders as a board member. And I have to say, my first going to that first annual meeting, I was absolutely amazed at the incredible work and talent that the students bring to the organization. I just had chills going through those conferences and attending those different sessions, and looking at really, the commitment, the passion, the tenacity that all of the volunteers bring to the organization. And that's when I felt like I really found my home. So when the opportunity opened up to become CEO, I absolutely jumped at it.
Thank you, Jackie. I want to mention too that it goes both ways, that Lily and I are also just as inspired to know that a Buckeye as passionate as you is leading such an impactful organization. And I kind of wanted to ask how your Ohio State education kind of helped you prepare yourself for the role that you're in now.
Well, I mean, it goes without saying, the Ohio State University provides just endless great opportunities, great leaders, great peers, right? And I do feel like I really took advantage of everything the university had to offer. I did an engineering co-op with IBM. I did a study program in Russia. I participated with my peers in the Concrete Canoe Challenge. Don't know if it's still out there, but we had a really fun road trip to Texas with that. And I worked at the engineering school, and working with faculty, and just getting to know all the leaders, an amazing group of people, right? I had professors who worked on space shuttles. I got to become friends with people from all over the world. And well, I'll confess that I have never used differential equations in my work or in my life. What was so important is that I learned how to learn, right? And that's what has opened the doors. So I'll say, bottom line, my experience at Ohio State was, it enabled me to get to where I am. I learned that engineers can change the world, and my education is what's giving me the opportunity to do that.
That's so inspiring to hear about your background and all the experiences that you've had both at Ohio State and even past that. Do you have any advice for current students or future engineers who are interested in humanitarian engineering and who want to make a difference just like you have?
So I would say absolutely get involved, right? I mean, it is all about getting involved. The need is greater than ever. There are so many opportunities where you can bring your amazing skill set to help solve those needs and make an impact. And the real reality about it is as you give those skills, you also get back, right? So it's an amazing opportunity where when you give, you also gain. So, and I of course have to talk about opportunities with Engineers Without Borders. And, you know, we offer mentorship, right? We've got professional engineers working side by side with students. We have educational training opportunities. There's, you know, countless courses that we offer, and we offer field opportunities, right? And this is in consulting or design and build, both within the U.S. and abroad. So you've got an opportunity to get involved, make a difference, learn new skills, and you find new cultures, new languages, and new ways of doing things. And that's something that you will carry with you forever. So get involved. That bottom line, that's the advice.
Thank you. Thank you. So you kind of began leading Engineers Without Borders during a really difficult time in the middle of July, while we're in the middle of a global pandemic as well. As you mentioned, something that hasn't happened in either of our lifetimes. So can you kind of mention what EWB is doing in terms of that to kind of help out the world that is most vulnerable right now, and how others can maybe pitch into as well?
Sure. Yes, and I did jump in at a very challenging time with within a global organization. But I truly believe that in every great challenge there's an opportunity, and like I said, that's what we are seeing now with our volunteers. You know, COVID obviously is proving that this is impacting every single person on the planet. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. It is something all of us have to come together to solve, and that's something you're obviously living and experiencing right now that you're going to take with you throughout your life. And let's look at what we're doing right now, right? I mean, our world instantly took to kind of a remote learning, remote meeting, remote, something that I think we really thought would have taken more than a decade to achieve. We essentially did it overnight. And that's the type of ingenuity that I'm seeing within our organization. So when you look at the people we serve, right, that the impact that we make and the need that we need to deliver is greater now than ever, right? So when we talk about the global pandemic, what do we say? We say, wash your hands, wear a mask. But what's clear is with the people we serve, they don't essentially have that opportunity, right? They don't have access in some cases to clean water. PPEs within the United States has been short supply at times. So as our volunteers looked at what they could do in this time, they have pivoted, and we see examples of that all around our chapters and our communities that we serve. And some of those are, within Guatemala, our volunteers pivoted and figured out ways to get access to those essential PPE supplies and delivered those to healthcare workers. They're also doing work there on making sure that those healthcare workers have access to clean water and that they can dispose of the contaminated PPE and other things that they use in a safe manner. So they're incredibly focused and have made an impact in ensuring healthcare workers can work safely, the essential people to delivering services. Another great example is we're installing hand washing stations in high traffic areas like the market in Uganda, right? This is a place that people need to come and in order for to maintain their livelihoods, right? They need to be able to sell the products they produce. They need to be able to buy food to bring it home and feed their families. They've got to come together in a place. And so putting in these hand washing stations are making all the difference for people being able to continue on with these essential needs within their life. And then another great example is within the US. I mean, we are seeing an impact in homelessness, right? And so this is a very vulnerable community that needs safe living spaces. And we're working on designing those so that we can serve the homeless population. Another great example. So I'll say, I think, I kind of started off with, thinking about the root of the word engineering is rooted in ingenuity. And that's what our volunteers are doing. They're figuring out how to pivot and how to deliver what the most vulnerable need in this global pandemic. So I want to turn the tables here and ask both of you a question about how the work is going on within your projects. And Lily, I know you've recently been in Gambia, and I'm really interested on any updates in that project too.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. And also thank you so much for sharing about all the other projects that UWB is doing, not only in the United States, but also around the world right now. So we're currently in the middle of our implementation phase for our project in Nijao. In 2018, we finished a fence implementation, and then last December, we implemented a solar-powered borehole. And I was actually able to travel to Nijao to work on the implementation of that. So that was really, really awesome to see all the work that we had put in come to fruition, and meet our contractor and our NGO and the community in general. We originally planned for a water tower implementation this past August, but obviously COVID happened. And so now we're looking into implementation sometime within the next year, possibly remotely. It was definitely very challenging to have to adjust our timeline, but we've received so much support from both the EWB community and also from our mentors at Ohio State, which have absolutely helped us continue to stay on track with our international projects. And then while we've had our international projects on hold, we've been also putting a little bit more focus towards our local projects in the Columbus area, which Ryan can also talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, thank you, Lily. Just like you mentioned, we've had to kind of transition all of our projects just a little bit. So in recent years, we kind of didn't have a super big focus on our local projects. It was kind of in the backseat, whereas we would put a lot of our motivation into our international project. Whereas this year, we were trying to figure out ways that we could kind of go about doing remote implementation while still giving hands-on experience for any of our local members. So we've kind of brought about 4 new projects during the semester, 3 of which we're waiting to implement for a safe time, given the COVID restrictions and all safety guidelines. We want to make sure that everything is okay before we go and do implementation day. But 3 of those projects that are waiting to be implemented are our Green Columbus project, where we'll be increasing a tree nursery capacity by about 1,500 trees per year. Our Goodwill project, where we'll be constructing a kid zone to support families' use of resale as a means of income for the families that spend a lot of time in that Goodwill area. And then our student farm, where we've been designing a rainwater collection system for their tree nursery in the high tunnel design. And then one project that we're actually in the midst of implementing, we've had to get a little bit creative with, is our Buckeye Precious Plastic partnership, where we've been doing, designing a process for upcycling single-use plastics, which has been really interesting. We've had to kind of pair up roommates so that they can work together because they're already working together. So kind of just passing equipment along and working with whatever means we can kind of do. But that's kind of our local projects too.
Again, I'm so inspired by the work that you do. It's really amazing, and seeing that ingenuity in action, remote learning, remote implementation, doubling down on local community needs. It's incredibly inspiring, and I look forward to actually meeting you someday in person.
Well, that's really all the questions that we had for you, Jackie. It's been really inspiring for Lily and I, and for anyone who's going to be watching this recording, just hearing from you from a past fellow Buckeye alumni. And it's just been a great reminder that Buckeye engineers really are everywhere.
Thank you, Ryan and Lily. It's great talking to you. Keep up the good work with your chapter.